Welcome to the 2040 Vision, hosted by Helena and Jason, where fresh perspective meets hard-earned wisdom, because growth is clear when you see it from both sides.
Welcome back, episode number 3. This is really starting to get real now.
Time is money.
Time is money. Productivity, mastering it. How can you be the best version of you while doing the least amount of things is kind of how I see productivity.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Productivity is important. I think in growth, productivity comes about like the most, because it's about for me, it's about getting the maximum amount of results while doing the least amount of steps.
True. Because when you think about it, when you say, oh, today was a productive day, what made it productive? I got this. You're numbering things that you've done in 24 hours or less, the hours that you are awake, right? I got to do this, I got to do that. So it really is what, like you said, maximizing the amount of things you do in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, it could be I did this, and this, or I got this result and only had to do these 3 things.
Exactly.
So it's interesting. You can look at productivity kind of like both ways on that, but it's super like there's we can go off in many different branches here, and we'll try and kind of like keep it within the restraints, because obviously productivity, career-wise and stuff like that, there's many systems that exist out there, and many teachings, and there's all kinds of things I mentioned. I think in the first episode, possibly like I was doing Lean Six Sigma teachings and stuff like that. Like, it can go really into depth. We're gonna try and keep it more like kind of like surface level about productivity, talking about like, you know, time management and or time blocking, and managing distractions, social media, things like that. The importance of taking a break to help you with being productive, because, you know, if you're tired and whatnot, you're not going to be as productive. And then we'll take a look at some tools that we both use or that we've heard of at the end that might help people in their productivity, both in the app space, in the software space, and as well in the teaching space, like practicality, some productivity teachings that we've learned about. What in your opinion is your biggest productivity struggle?
I do procrastinate. So it's quite literally the opposite of production, right? I do tend to, oh, that could wait till later. Oh, that could wait till later. So I don't really put any urgency on anything until, for example, something very, very simple. I'm supposed to ask for a shift switch with a colleague of mine who I know is going to be okay with it, for a work event that is being held, but I'm working an evening that day, and I don't think she would mind to switch, because I don't even think she wants to come. And I've been telling my friends for the last 3 days that, oh, I'm gonna ask, and they've been reminding me, like, did you do it? And I still haven't.
Procrastination, probably the number one enemy of productivity. Putting things off, not actually accomplishing the task you set out to do, time blocking it, managing distractions from doing it. I think that all falls into procrastination. Then we'll have some good conversations revolving every one of those subjects there. I over the course of my many years, over the course of my life, I've time management is always the one constant. Time management and productivity is always the one constant thing I try and strive to. I've always been super big on testing out the newest apps, and productivity and stuff is very prevalent in my in my careers and in my different jobs that I've had, and I've had many, from like managing a restaurant to working for a sound equipment rental company, and managing logistics and operations for them, to working in logistics operations for selling trees. I've definitely had to take a look at productivity in many different ways for many different scenarios and many different styles of and walks of life, when it comes to that stuff. So for me, like, productivity is always this ever chased goal of, it's impossible to get perfect. It's something that's not easy for many to grasp and comprehend. I see that a lot in trying to show people that productivity can really help them in their day. Some people, and I'll mirror your biggest enemy, which is procrastination. In productivity, one of the biggest enemies I've encountered out in the wild when it comes to productivity, or the biggest enemy to productivity, is comfortability. So people being way too set in their ways and way too comfortable to even care to change.
People, that's a big one actually. People become complacent in their life. This is good enough.
It's a great word. I wish I was as smart as you.
Good enough. Like, what
is good enough?
What is good enough?
and maybe, you know what, it's like, and I try not to, like, especially in a work setting, if good enough is good for you and it's not affecting kind of like my work outcomes or my advancement of any projects and things like that, then I guess, like, it's okay. I have to I have to concede that you're just not that interested in
Right.
it than me. But for me, it's like, yeah, I don't understand the good enough. Like, I could have something to where I think it's really, really good, and then I'll be like, okay, what's the next cool app or whatever that can help me get to the next phase or
Right.
whatever. So I definitely dabble in all of that. But complacency, great word. Comfortability, just being set in your ways, is definitely the other enemy to change, and the one of the hardest things to actually to I don't want to say teach out of people, but get people to come out of, to learn, to start even learning the building blocks of productivity. So that's really cool. Let's talk about, when it comes to productivity, there's some big building blocks that I think we need to touch that are more of like on a surface level for things. So time blocking versus list making, things like that. That's super important when it comes to being productive. Managing distractions, the importance of rest, and then we'll talk about the tools after. So let's talk about a little bit about time blocking versus list making and finding the right system for you. And I think we're going to preach this a lot throughout all of our episodes. We've preached it in the first two episodes, but not every shoe fits every person, right? It's not a one size fits all scenario when it comes to growth and things like that. And that remains true here in productivity. So finding the right system that is going to make you more comfortable with that is super important. And approaching this, especially for those that are really set in their ways and very comfortable, um, it's going to be important to find that one that resonates with you the most when it comes to using the right system for you.
So when I think of time blocking in my life right now, it's really how I choose to distribute my time, right? So work, very important. Working out, very important. Those are my two priorities right now. And also learning to make my bank account grow and eventually have more income. So I am going to start looking into a side hustle. I've been looking into it. Something that does require more
This is a side hustle.
This is a side hustle.
FYI, doesn't bring revenue at it. Like it may never, but this is also considered a side hustle.
This is true. This is true. So where I'm going with so let's take this as an example, because where I'm going with this is that in order to do things like this, things that, you know, do help with growth, might eventually become revenue, right?
Absolutely. Fingers crossed.
I've had to time block by who I allow my time to go to. And I say who, not what, because my what I'm pretty good with. It's my who. So I used to hang out with many different people, and I've had to kind of cut many people who I didn't think my time was like where that time was valuable. It sucks. I think, you know, everybody I've ever met in my life is great, you know, but if I want to grow, so like I was saying in the other episodes, is that I find myself always looping back to exactly where I was. And part of that I feel has to do with the people I was hanging out with, because their life kind of looks the same and like loops back. And I'm like, okay, wait, no, I gotta change something. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So for me, time blocking is the people I choose to like give time to. Because like I said, if I'm not giving you the time, it's because, no offense, I have to give myself that time for my growth, for my peace, my happiness. And eventually, like, all that other stuff comes to you. Like, I've even heard somebody say, like, oh, take care of your health and everything else follows. Happiness, health, happiness. Yeah, health, like, you know, health, even money. All of it comes to you once you put that time into yourself. So I've definitely this year learned to put more time into myself, less on others. So if you feel like I've cold shouldered you, I haven't. It's just I'm really going into me this year.
It's interesting. Like, it's interesting to me because I've never considered time blocking that way. I'm much more robotic when it comes to, and it makes sense because time blocking is also it doesn't have to be necessarily the physical act of scheduling something in a calendar, which is when I look at time blocking and think about it, it's more that, it's more the robotic function of time blocking. You block your time. You say like, okay, it's not necessarily scheduled in the calendar, but it's like, okay, this week I have 30 hours of time that I can schedule or dedicate to people or things or projects or side hustles, however you want to call them. I'm going to take 15 out. You didn't necessarily put those 15 into a calendar, but you're saying, hey, I got 15 that I'm using to go sit with this old guy and do some podcasting. And then I also want to do this and I also want to do that, which means that if certain activities or whatever come along, well, I only have 10 to 15 hours left on the board for that kind of thing. So there's going to be some people or some things that are going to be, I'm going to have to say no to. So that's kind of, it's more of a, like a, I don't know how to explain it. It's not so like scheduled into a calendar and things into a day and a time frame, but it's more like a holistic, like an
energy
an
thing.
energy life kind of.
That's kind of how I view. That's kind of how I view my time. It's
That's
my
super
energy. So, like, example, it's such a small example, but I don't know. Like, I got a follow from an old friend, say, right? Took a second to look at it. Doesn't align with my life anymore. I don't follow back for my own reasons. That person decides to unfollow me. So in the end, I look at it and I'm like, I made the right choice, because if that person is that way that you're only following me to get a follow back or like whatever. Or like maybe they just got the hint and it's like, okay, cool. But if if my energy doesn't align with that, I'm not doing it. Just like,
very interesting.
Also the way I view things is it's kind of like weird, but if a friend of mine is talking about their day or like their week and like what they have scheduled, and I hear that, oh, I'm going to meet up with this person, and I'm like, you're better than that. Like I think about them like you're better than that. You're really going to waste your time. You can utilize that time way differently. And then the way I think of like an external person, I then internalize that. And then I'm like, okay, see how I just said that about that person? How can I use that on myself? Right? And let's say that would be the example. Like, no, I'm not following this person because this would be a waste of my time. Because I knew that if I had followed, there would be a conversation that sparked up. And that conversation would be a huge waste of time. And I just was like, I'm not having it. I'm not doing it. Nope.
So you're kind of like mashing time and prioritization and that stuff into one, and we'll talk about prioritizing a little bit as well when it comes to the next one, which is to-do list. So for me, time blocking is not as holistic or as like an energy type thing for you. In fact, I've never even thought of it that way, which is super interesting. For me, time blocking is literally, I'm very robotic when it comes to this, and you can ask my wife, you can ask anybody. Like it's ridiculous. Like if something is mentioned, for example, there's the Greek Independence Day parade coming up, and by coming up I mean it's like in 4 days, and
you have it in your calendar?
No. It makes me really angry. So the Greek Independence Day is coming in 4 days, and today we sat down in the thing and the in the car after picking up my daughter from school, and then the conversation sparked about that and something about her walking in the parade.
Yeah. That
She's and my wife was like, "Oh yeah, you should probably be doing that." And I'm like,
yeah, her school does that. We used to do it when I was going there.
I'm like, well, so like there's a whole parade for starters, whole parade. And then my daughter's supposed to be walking in it, and it's not blocked in my cal. Like that time ain't there. You know what I mean? So when I look at my weekend, say we were talking about doing some recording or working on the podcast for the weekend, for me it's robotic. Like if it's not in the calendar, it's a huge problem, especially because I don't only deal with my own schedule. And I guess that's where, for me, why I think of it way more in terms of like calendar and actually doing it. But I do this at work, I do this at home. At work I'll block off blocks of time just to work on different projects, and I have to stick to that. Like if I'm working on my main job and then I have side projects that I'm hustling with at work, I will block myself off a 30 or 40 minute or 1 hour time block of time dedicated towards side project at work, regardless of where and what's coming in on the main work, for the most part, because I have to be able to stick and dedicate time the same way you're dedicating time to the things that matter and important, or you have to make sure you give time to the things that need given time to. For me, it's much more like that. I do it we have a shared calendar with the family. So all the two kids, my wife and I, all of our stuff goes onto one calendar so that I can, at the blink of an eye, look at the week, see it. If something comes up at work and I need to plan something, I have to maybe work late, or if I have to go on a work trip or something like that, I can look at the family calendar and say, okay, well, there's nothing scheduled here. Perfect. We can go do that. Friends and stuff like that, aligning with our budget. Hey, are we available for a breakfast this month? Well, we'll schedule them into a breakfast that makes sense and works. So for me, it's much more. And then within that scheduling of the specific time slots and actually putting it into a calendar for me, I then also have the prioritization lists. Personally, it goes into, like, let's say like a task manager or Google Tasks or something like that. Just falls within the calendar, Google To-Dos, or I forget what it's called, but within the Google within the Google hemisphere. And at work, I use Outlook. I use the to do manager through Outlook and the categories and all of that. Not going to dive too deep into that, although that may be something that we can branch out and maybe have an expert come in and talk about a little bit, because I think it's super. I think there's tools that are at the hands of people they don't even realize they have, and that could be really really beneficial for them. So I actually do have to do lists that I prioritize on a weekly basis, more for the personal stuff, or monthly, let's say. And then on a daily basis for work, I'll reevaluate my to do list every day with new things that come in, and reprioritize and reslot things. And obviously with AI coming out and all that good stuff, there's a lot of things out there. I think one's called Motion or something. There's a lot of good things out there that can help you with to do lists and prioritization. So that's something I'm huge on every single day. I do it. I do it at work, and I've tried, and we'll talk about some of the tools and apps. I've tried a whole bunch of them. Some didn't work. Some I found a little bit too heavy, and didn't work to my liking, and didn't work for me. And yeah, to do lists, is that something that you do? Obviously, you don't to do list things that are a little bit more the way you time block. I don't think you could. Maybe you could.
To do lists.
We kind of we talked about it a little bit before we started recording the episode. Like at on a work level, you kind of have like a daily list of things, and when you walk in, you got to get them done, right?
Yeah. So I mean, because I work in healthcare, it's hard to have a to-do list. I mean, our to-do list is, we have X amount of patients that come in every day, and you got to clear it. And or try your best to clear it. If not, send it over to the next shift starting. But more often than not, we do clear it. Where it gets a little tricky is that you might have a to-do list, but because you're in healthcare, there's emergencies. So now you have to prioritize, okay, this goes over this, but then if that happens, that has to take priority. Or don't forget, this person needs a break. So you kind of have to like shift your weight everywhere in the workplace. And there are priorities. So even if you want to get something done, sometimes something else takes priority.
So it's a little bit less. Yeah, it's a little bit less to-do list. You have a prioritization list almost, more than two things to do. You just know if this kind of code or whatever comes in, I don't know how you guys refer to it, but it takes priority and precedence over a different type of thing. So for all those wondering why sometimes healthcare takes a little bit longer than not,
it's exactly that.
There's priorities out there.
There's priorities, and right now we're going through a lot of cuts, so there's that too.
Yeah.
Apparently we're not a priority.
Somebody didn't make you guys a priority. Yeah, subject for another day. So okay, so you kind of do have that on a daily basis. It's interesting that not everybody necessarily works with them.
For example, like going into time is money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do have an app. It's called Shifter, not an ad.
Hashtag not an ad yet. Available.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So Shifter, I put in all of my shifts for, let's say, like the whole month of, I don't know, March came out. So I put my entire month of March. And what I love about this app too is that you can take pictures and like write notes on that day. You can take a picture. So like, let's say it'll have the little envelope or the little camera icon in the corner. So you can click on it and be like, oh, I made a switch with this person or whatever. I use that a lot for my overtime shifts that I've taken. So this is where time is money, right? So I would pick and choose my overtimes based off of like what's paying me more, what is worth my time.
Is Shifter like offered through your work, or this is something like you just do on your own?
No, on my own.
Oh.
Actually, a friend recommended it to me, and I now even use it. I put the person's name if whoever I'm hanging out with that day. Like I'll put like, oh, I'm hanging out with Claire. Claire's name is on that shift. Tomorrow is Gabby. Well, actually, technically, I hang out with them at the same time. I even have like a little snowboarding emoji for the days I go snowboarding.
Interesting. Shifter. That's cool. gonna check that out.
It's really cool.
I like that. I'm a big fan of tools. Not like the people that are tools, but like tools, like
Yeah.
like apps and stuff like that. I'm less of a fan of actual tools.
I think you do have to pay for it, but it's something tiny. It's something like maybe $3 or $4 for the entire year.
I'm gonna have to fit it into the budget.
For the entire year. It's not
Gonna have
bad.
Okay, did they give me a free trial 7 days? Can I try it?
Actually, yes.
Just give me a taste. I want a taste.
There is a free like version of it.
Okay.
But I think I take that back. I could be wrong, but if you pay the $3 to $4 for it, it might even be less than that. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure. It might be for life. Like I don't think it renews every year.
Probably like a one time to get rid of ads or something.
Maybe not ads, but like to be able to take pictures
it
and
actually unlocks features.
yeah, and to write notes on it and things.
Very cool.
Really worth it.
I'm gonna add that to our show notes shifter. I'm just gonna write that down now. We didn't have that. You popped that one in on a surprise for me. Good for you. Love that. We will have some show notes available as well to kind of recap things we talk about here. So if there's something that you missed or whatever, you can check out the show notes and any links and all of that will be available in the platform of which you are listening to. We will talk about platforms now. The one of the biggest devils of productivity obviously is distraction. The age of social media has been upon us for many a moon now. And is there anything that you do to kind of minimize? Well, I'm guessing at work you can't necessarily always have your phone on you either. So I guess for you, you must have certain things that you do, kind of like I have. I put like do not disturbs and stuff like that. Is there is there anything you use or do to minimize distractions? Are you big on that? Like, are you addicted to your phone at all?
I am addicted to I don't have do not disturb because I hate having my phone on any kind of vibration or sound. And what am I, 26? Since I got a phone, I think I've always had it on silent. I don't.
Oh, you have you don't answer your phone when people call?
No. If I catch it, yeah.
Does anybody call at your age?
Yeah, they do.
Interesting.
But if I catch it, I'll answer, obviously. But
So are you on the phone enough to catch calls all the time? Are you that addicted?
I can say 8 out of 10 times I'm on the phone and I can catch the call.
That's pretty addictive.
It's pretty bad.
That's pretty addictive.
No, it's bad. It's bad.
That's
for sure. I don't even want to look at my screen time. I'm scared. I'm scared.
That's an interesting one that I implemented 2 weeks ago. Was doing screen time, and the next step for me is having the apps shut down after a certain amount of time of use.
Oh, you can do that? I didn't even know you could do that.
There's like locks and stuff like that. You can be like, give yourself 30 minutes of Instagram a day, and when you're over your 30 minutes, you can't open the app anymore.
So, okay. I do use Instagram and I do use TikTok a lot. Those are the two apps that I use the most. Snapchat, I deleted it a long time ago. It's for children.
I see. We're gonna sidebar here. How can Snapchat be for children?
It's for children. I'm sorry, I can't.
When I grew up, Snapchat was for nudes.
Technically,
not children, right? Like when you say children, you mean like immature people?
Immature people. That's what I mean. Like, if Snapchat is your main form of communication. Someone take that phone away from that child.
Yeah, like honestly.
I can't. Anyway, so no, TikTok and Instagram are the two main things for me, but I kind of use them for inspiration, really. And then some not inspiration, but just for like shits and giggles.
I mean, listen, we have a 121-day streak on TikTok. I think we have an addiction. Yeah, so that's going to be my next, that's going to be a big one for me is, so I'm definitely addicted to the phone, although I've been trying to take strides, and we spoke about it a little bit when we were talking about routine, waking up at 5:45. I don't look at my phone for 30 minutes now. I try to I try to not look at the phone at all for 30 minutes and
That's a good one.
minimize the amount of like bombardment I get first thing in the morning, where like I feel like I like honestly I feel lately like it's rearranging my brain waves. There's just so much, and it's all very quick, quick hit, 15 to 120 30-second content, and you're just like this addicted like
You know, it's hard
terrible.
for me to like watch a movie now because it's the focus.
or
Sometimes,
read a book.
yeah. So sometimes there's, let's say, something that pops up or like whatever, and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit through this to like force myself to get through this one thing, even though I know I can like skip. I don't. I'm like, I'm just gonna watch the entire thing so that I can like break the habit of like, okay, skip, or like fast forward, like.
I think the danger, we're going to sidetrack a lot with the social media one. I think the danger is behind that too, is like people only listen to the first 10 seconds of the thing and take that as truth, when it's like
Yes, like reading, like
100 men out of 100 are most likely to sexually assault a woman. Showed a research absolutely wrong or something like that. Like this was not actually a research, or a research that was proven wrong. Da, da, da. But then they took that first 10 seconds and they said, "Wow, that's true. 100 out of 100 men." And it's like, no, listen to the whole thing. Read something.
same
Turn
with
the
articles.
page.
Same with articles. Oh, you read the title and that was about it.
I said, "Whoop." We got a little experience with that, haven't we? Another group chat we were in, that I ruined. Yeah, that's definitely a devil for some people. Is like it's become so bad. The distractions become so bad that even the distraction in itself we get distracted by. So we're distracted on the distraction. We can't even focus on an article for more than 10-15 seconds before we go, okay, I know everything there is about it. I read the title and the headline and I'm good to go. I am an expert on all that is XXX.
Yeah.
It's going to be my new thing now. I am an expert on all that is that. And it's yeah, it's kind of concerning. But so there's definitely like there's definitely some stuff out there that people can use to overcome that. I mean I'm when I'm at work, I try and do the do not disturb. I also do it like on my Teams, the Teams chat from work. If I'm dedicated or I've blocked off time to work on a particular thing and I can't be distracted by anything else, I'll put myself on do not disturb. That way a phone call or a request doesn't come through, and I'll undo it when I'm off the when I'm off that particular allotted block of schedule that I've decided I want to do something else. So it's super important to like kind of like get rid of those distractions, use apps to help you spend less time on social media, get rid of the ones that really aren't bringing you real joy or productivity, or not productivity, real joy or any kind of substance. So for myself, like X is gone, Twitter is gone. I don't have a Twitter anymore. I just, for me it was I was going to it to read negativity. It was a distraction that wasn't even good to begin with, like to begin with. So for me, I got rid of it and that. But yeah, social media, managing those distractions, definitely a big one, and a big thing when it comes to productivity. You want to
It could even be as little as putting your phone away when you're in a group setting.
I'm so guilty of that. It's so bad though.
Like, oh, I'm sitting with my
I haven't
friends.
touched it much here doing it now, but like, yeah, we sit at a friend.
Yeah,
Like,
me
like,
too. I haven't
yeah.
touched it really. I only opened it just so I could remember that it was the app was called Shifter. But when you're at a table with your friends, out for cocktails, whatever, put the phone away, because if you're taking that time for those people because they matter to you, give them your full undivided attention. Like, why would you rob them of that?
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that. I'm guilty of it at home too. We're having dinner with the family, and I'll have my phone there. So I try and not even bring it to the table anymore. It's become very bad.
Yeah, even watching videos while I eat and then like pausing it and getting annoyed, like, oh, someone's talking to me. But no, put it away for like half an hour. It's fine.
Yeah, it's really bad. Social media, man. That's a big one when it comes to your productivity. You can waste away, and I promise you, if you open your phone and you look at your screen time averages and stuff like that, all most phones, be it Android or Apple, have that data now. You can go in and if it doesn't, turn on the stuff that records that data, because it's available, or download a free app that will give you that data, and it will blow your mind how much time you spend on that device, and then try and write down how much of that device time you spend with is actually something worthwhile.
It's not. So it goes
If
back to
any, if any.
what we were saying, how uh productivity, right? If you write down all the hours you've wasted on social media versus being able to be productive, it's really bad.
Concerning.
Yes.
It's borderline concerning.
Yeah. And it kind of goes into the 80/20 rule, right? Does, like, social media has nothing to do with any sort of like big outcome unless you work in like, you know, your kind, not your career, yeah, your career, or like whatever,
Yeah, the exception to the rule. Yeah,
goes
yeah.
into social media, which
But even there, I would have to argue that whatever time they spent was hyper focused to how it would grow or help them be productive
is true.
within their. They're not if their job is to create user generated content around travel, let's say, they're not going to be spending 6 hours a day watching gaming content.
No, this is true.
They're going to watch other travel content creators and get
Inspiration.
ideas and inspirations and stuff like
Right.
that. They're going to listen to videos on how to create new styles of user generated content, and all of that. So I would say you're right. There's going to be some people that need to spend time on social media due to their jobs, but I can guarantee that focus time that's on there is likely a lot better than the way we do it. Where mine is, I mean, you see just by the stuff I send you on TikTok, it's all over the damn place. We've sent TikToks together for so long that our TikToks are almost identical now. Notice like a lot of like the themes and subjects, like it's the same.
Sometimes
like,
I don't even watch what you send me, and I
know.
send you the same exact video that you sent me.
I'm like, did we just send the same video? Or it's like I sent you the video and then you send me somebody that reacted to the video.
Yeah, like a follow up, like, oh hey, I don't know if you saw this version of it, but
yeah. Oh my god, the halftime show at the Super Bowl version, like sent you at least 60 or 70 different versions of that thing, and they're still going. It's moms in daycares we're at now that are doing the dance. So yeah, so social media.
I saw a doctor doing it in the OR.
That's hilarious.
I was like, oh yeah, this is really up my alley.
You guys started doing some stuff at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. On my TikTok, you'll see like me and my friends doing some TikToks at work. Off hours, of course.
Of course. Bien sûr. So yeah, big. So I think social media we can go on for a long time. I think we can all agree that there's techniques out there, like deep work is what I was talking about, where it's like shut everything off, do not disturbs, block your time, and if need be, to shut the phone off, power it off. If even like the slightest light is going to distract you and make you look, just shut the phone off and really focus on the task at hand, and don't allow it to do it. And again, my challenge out to the listener for this episode will be download something that tracks, or go look at the metrics or the data that's on your phone that tracks the amount of time you use your cell phone on which apps, and see the astronomical amount of time. So the next time you tell someone that asked for something important, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I just didn't have the time. Well, maybe the 6 hours of TikTok and Instagram and whatever is where that time went. Obviously 6 hours is an exaggeration, but you'll probably find that there's a few hours of just doom scrolling there. And then I'll segue into the next step here, because there is rest and relaxation and the work life balance. There is that does also need to happen. So you are allowed, and I guess you could do what you want. It's not us telling you, but we're allowed to go onto social media and have our snack time and have our downtime, shut the brain off, rest, and
Everything in moderation,
everything in moderation, and rest is definitely
needed.
and warranted. And if rest includes watching a little bit of social media for you, or being on your phone for a little bit,
Because if you don't
that is
rest, you
okay
cannot be productive.
Yeah. So why and rest in itself is part of productivity. It is part of being productive, because there's points too where you can overdo it. You can't just be productive 24/7. There will come a point where you're going to hit a wall.
It's like
You're
working out.
do it.
So working out right now is like the biggest thing in my life. But it's like working out. If you overwork a muscle, it's not going to grow. You have to let it rest for it to grow.
And then feed it properly.
Exactly. And that's your body, your entire body, your mind. That's with everything. It's all one.
And you have to be able to sit down and give yourself that work-life balance, and understand that, okay, it's we talked a little bit about it in the routine day. At the end of the day, it's time for me to dedicate this productivity time to being productively resting, and slow things down, and do kind of like the things that I have fun with. Things that, for me, maybe playing with the kids, reading a little bit. I love softball. And why is that productive? Because it's working and exercising different parts of my brain. It's signaling the happy points in my brain. It's releasing different hormones into the body, and it's creating a more balanced version of me, which then will just allow me to continue to be that much more productive. And if you don't allow for that rest time, you will start to fall into the anti-production of trying to be productive too much, and that things like burnout, things like or becoming like the workaholic, where you just think you're doing so many things, and you're just doing them on like you're just stacking so many things onto so many things on so many things, where you're actually not even being productive anymore. You're just stuck in this work mode, and you're just, if I'm working, I'm being productive. That's not always
surviving,
true.
But you're not living.
That's not always true. If you're working, you're not always being productive, and doing more work doesn't mean you've been more productive. You could have probably done with a little bit of rest. If you're stuck working something on a project for like 3-4 days straight, and you work 10-hour days, 12-hour days, you probably could have, had you backtracked, rested a little bit more, given yourself that work-life balance, achieved the same result while working only 9-hour days, because you were more productive in those days. You were rested. You had your me time. You had your downtime. And then obviously the like, and something we live through in our family is the burnout. It's not falling into these traps of not having that work-life balance will lead to burnouts, and that will put you, talk about a productivity killer, that will put you on the floor. You will not be productive for a very, very long time. It will take months before you're back on your feet, and it's definitely not something that you want to see. So definitely give yourself that work-life balance. Make sure you're making some time for you.
Oh yeah, that's the most important. You come first. And remember, if you're not happy and healthy, you cannot do anything else. Like, all your priorities go out the window. Can't do it. That's why it's so important. You have to put yourself first. You have to rest, equal as you have to be hard on yourself too sometimes. It's not always about being really like, okay, I got this. Like, oh, I suck today, but like tomorrow, oh, and then I suck today, and then tomorrow. No, sometimes you have to be hard on yourself, but like I said, everything in moderation.
Yep. Let's talk about the tools a little bit, because I think in productivity we can introduce there's a lot of tools and apps out there. I mean, there's like a mind numbing amount of tools and apps out there. And if let us know if this subject kind of piques your guys' interest a little bit more. Is this something that we should consider deep diving into tools, like having an entire episode based on tools? Maybe we can try some and see what we think about them. Maybe we can have an expert of these tools on here talking about how to utilize them. I don't think we're like a how-to type channel, but it's possible that we can come back on some of these things and go, okay, so this was really interesting for people. They really want to get better at productivity. They just don't know where to start with the tools. But for some of the things that we talked about today, like task management, you talked about Shifter, so that's an app.
Yeah, that's an app. So Shifter would be great for work shift management, especially if your work life consists of different times every so often. This would be really, really helpful to track your time, to track, let's say, switches or even sick calls, or even overtimes. And then you can even like check to see if everything checks out, like at the end of the month or whatever. Or, oh yeah, that's why I'm so tired, I overdid it one week, I worked like over 55 hours. Ugh.
That's interesting. So you can see if you're a shift worker, somebody who works not like an office job where it's like, okay, you're on a salary or whatever. You can actually see if you're overdoing or overworking. Actually, I would say that maybe that's even good for those that are in an office scenario where you're not kind of clocking in, clocking out. You just kind of work all the time. You're supposed to be available 24/7 ish. You have to learn to shut it off, but you can kind of track, hey, in this Shifter app, probably I'm gonna check it out. I'm intrigued. You could probably check like, hey, okay, so on Monday I came in at 8 p.m. 8 a.m. and I left at I stopped doing this, but then I hopped back on at 7 p.m. You could probably keep track of that just to see like how much am I actually dedicating hours wise to my work versus to my my own life. So Shifter, very, very, very cool. A few other apps that will that I'll go through that I used that I use. Well, the one I use in my daily basis now is Outlook and Teams for task management. We use it for splitting the tasks throughout our coworkers and all that. And Outlook has a built-in like task management to-do list that kind of syncs up with the whole Microsoft ecosystem. So it's really, really easy to use. So for a career at a career level thing, I mean, I'm using Outlook. Some of the other ones you guys might want to check out: HubSpot, Trello. HubSpot is more of like a CRM, customer retention. You can kind of set some tasks in there, especially for those who are like on the sales side of things. You can set tasks and stuff on to dos per client and stuff like that. If you're looking for it on a career level, Trello I've used on both career and personal. Trello's kind of like a pin board that you can move around, these like cards that move around, and you can set like rules for the cards. So if you're kind of like trying to work on a personal project, on a budgeting project, if you're trying to work on maybe growth at the gym or whatever, you can utilize the cards in different ways. And there's a whole bunch of tutorials out there to show you how to use Trello and I believe Trello is free. There's obviously premium stuff. HubSpot's not free, and I'm pretty sure you have to be a corporation to be able to use it. But Trello has a free version, and obviously there's premiums that go along with that. And then time blocking. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff for time blocking out there. I mean, I basically just use the Outlook or the Google Calendar. I don't think you do anything different when it comes to time blocking. So utilize the tools that are out there. If you guys have tools that you think we would be cool to check out, let us know. This kind of like little thing, it really really gets the juices flowing for me. I love testing and trying new apps for helping with day-to-day productivity or business productivity or anything like that. So if you see something out there or you use something out there that you have, especially for like minimizing distractions, there's a few that we have written down but we don't use, like Forest and Freedom. I don't use them. I kind of use just like the features of the phone to like put do not disturb or at work that I use. So I don't really have any of those.
Another thing too that can help, pen and paper is your best friend always. If you have a calendar, this is what I used to do. I actually still did it for 75 hard. I used it calendar, and every day you like check it off. That kind of feels like a reward.
The act of checking is that reward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pen and paper is I work for a paper company, so big advocate of pen and paper, but I refuse to use pen and paper myself. So, but yeah, it's definitely there's a power that's behind the use of the pen to the paper, and there's just something about connecting to what's being written versus virtually doing it. I definitely agree with that, and we spoke about it in the last episode. Like, it's
Be
part of, if I'm trying to
aware.
learn something, I will actually physically write things. I won't type them. I'll physically write them into a book. That way, somehow that just the stroke of the pen is like translating to my brain, and I'm
Exactly.
remembering more.
Yeah. And it almost makes you more aware when you're writing it down, like, oh, yeah. And then you kind of feel like that's already like a check mark. Because, okay, step one, I wrote it on paper. I physically can see it. Now I can attack them individually.
Very cool. That's going to put an end to this episode. We do have a few more episodes coming up that we're going to talk about, kind of setting like the foundation of what is growth. That's what these first like 4, 5, 6 episodes are going to be. It's just talking about like all the foundation builders. So like productivity, mindset, routine. If you haven't checked out the other episodes yet, I would invite you to go and do so. And then once we kind of set the foundation of kind of like the building blocks of growth, we're going to start going into the more specific things like actual money management, finance talk, personal relationship talk, love talk, et cetera, et cetera. I can't think of all of them right now, but we will have a whole slew of them. We have at least 26 episodes planned out as of now, and obviously we can make adjustments and changes as we go. So, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you in the next episode
Catch you later.
of the 2040 Vision podcast. Bye-bye.